everyone. My name is Avery Collins. My group was Team One, and we had to, or I had to research Against the Sophists, which was written by Socrates. So he was an Athenian orator in ancient Greece. He was well known for just his contributions to education, especially in rhetoric. He was very well known for how he taught, what he taught, the way he taught it. He also founded a school called the Lyceum or Lyceum. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce it. And listening to the Siri pronunciation of it was really confusing. So I'm going to go with Lyceum. Um, and it was just a school mainly that taught how to be an orator, taught a lot about rhetoric, and is more well known today as the Academy of Rhetoric. So yeah. I had a lot of questions just about what certain things were, like what a sophist was, what an orator was. So in the next couple of slides, I'm actually going to be talking about those things. Um, An orator is basically just someone who is very well spoken, can speak really well in public. Um, they usually do it for persuasion, but it can be used for other things. It was actually very important in ancient Greece in just the fact that it talked a lot about um, like blaming someone or praising someone or trying to change someone's mind about something. It was a lot about expression and just expressing yourself and expressing an idea in that time. What is rhetoric? It's actually defined more as persuasive speaking. Um, Lots of colorful language and figures of speech, and like it mentions persuasion. Basically, just trying to convince someone of something you believe. Um, it was used a lot in ancient Greece. I thought one of the fun facts was that it was used in the Olympics, and it was actually an event in the Olympics at that time. So, like, we have oh goodness, figure skating in the Olympics or pole vaulting or sports like that. They had public speaking. So I thought that was really cool. But it was also used to just talk about the day. It was used to defend yourself against someone else in court. Um, but it was used a lot in this time. It was like such a big thing for ancient Greece. What is a sophist? Um, Sophists used a lot of rhetoric, but they weren't very morally sound. They basically, if they felt something or if they had an idea about something, even if it wasn't completely true, they would go and like try to convince other people what they were saying was true. What they believed was truth. As I wrote, I said their opinions were their truth. So it was very much of if I believe this, then it has to be true. They were not popular in ancient Greece because they weren't promoting the truth, and they valued skepticism over that. Where did sophists originate? So they did come, the term was coined in ancient Greece around the 5th century of BCE. They actually were probably sages beforehand. Um, Sophist was actually, it used to be a really broad term that just it described people who taught rhetoric and spoke rhetoric. But now it, or I say now, when Against the Sophist was written, it actually was more specific to two certain groups, which we will discuss on the next slides. Uh, Heuristics was the first group, and they were more devoted to theorizing the field of ethics. Um, they thought that being happy and a successful life was more in tune with an exact science. But this was not realistic in any way. But I thought it was cool that the term heuristic was actually defined as the art of practicing debate or argument. So it was actually a meaning, not just a word to describe the group. The other group was the Sophists of the rhetorical school. They taught oratory more as a mean of success, and it was more practical than the heuristics. Um, they thought that anyone could learn the science in our laboratory, um, even if it might not have been as practical for some people. Um, they were very popular, but it didn't mean that they were liked. Why was Against the Sophists written? Um, Isocrates claimed to be a sophist, but he actually ended up separating himself from that group because he did not fully agree with what they were doing and the fact that what they were teaching wasn't always true or morally sound. So he wrote Against the Sophists. Um, he actually believes that the sophist movement was attacking the educational system because it wasn't teaching the truth. And to be a good orator, that they needed to be well educated and they needed to know the truth about politics and ethics and education instead of just saying what they felt like they believed or felt like was the truth. These are actually some questions for y'all that I thought about while making this PowerPoint, in just a sense of which group do you think seems more morally correct? All right. So from that answer, I also would like to know, why do you think that even though Isocrates identified as a sophist in the beginning, he didn't want to associate with them? Alrighty. Thank y'all for y'all's answers. I wanted to know a little bit more about how sophism or sophists like were influencing the world today. And I couldn't find too much, but that was mainly because it's actually under different terms now. Modern pragmatism was one, and it was basically modern pragmatism is claiming something is true because it makes you feel good. Um, and so that was pretty close to how the heuristics felt, I feel like. And utilitarianism, goodness. And that's like that your happiness kind of guides how you like what you do and like your moral standpoint. Um, Basically, both of these things that are more common today stemmed from Sophism, and it gives the ability of self-expression in today's world, which honestly, in 2023, 2024, self-expression is a really big thing, a really big topic. So I thought it was cool to see how it stemmed from ancient Greece to today. That is my presentation, and thank y'all for listening.